Happy Monday. It's Monday, May 22nd. And I know that because yesterday was my daughter's birthday, my oldest girl. So she turned 11 yesterday. Big deal. It's double digits, which is really exciting. And she reminded us yesterday that in 2 years she'll be 13. So after I had a stroke and a heart attack, I picked myself up off the floor and told her, oh, good, that's a whole 2 years away. So the countdown is on, apparently. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. It's the end of May. Summer is quickly approaching. And the one word, well, let's put it this way. The one thought that has been running through my mind this week, again and again, both for myself personally, but also what I see online and in the lives of other people, is how incredibly hungry we are for peace. We want just peace. We want everybody to get along. We want life to be fairly calm and ordinary. We want to be unafraid. We want to feel a sense of quiet and assurance in our soul and our spirit that all is going to work out in the end. I mean, I even think of the movies we watch and the television shows we watch, and we love nothing more than a 2-hour movie that ends with resolution, because there's peace there. And that 2-hour diversion at the movies, where we go through all kinds of angst through the movie, but we know it resolves at the end, is really very symbolic of what I think humans at their core long for. I mean, we just have such a deep need and desire, I'd say almost a desperation, to have peace. And if you're watching, by the way, good morning, I see you, Babette, and some others that have popped on. If you're watching this, feel free to leave in the comments your thoughts about peace as well, and whether or not that's something that resonates with you and something that you're longing for, or even something that you just see in those around you. I see it with my kids in different kinds of ways, and friends, neighbors, all of it, but really mainly myself. I think what we're chasing after is peace. And we usually try to find peace, as I've been thinking about it this morning, in 3 different areas. We try to find peace in our stuff. And I don't really think of myself as terribly materialistic, and yet at the same time I find I can totally see ways that I try to find peace in my stuff. So let's say, I mean, everything from, I make sure that my cabinets are stocked with food all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's a little over the top at times. How many things, just in case, so we have it just in case. Or we try to find peace in our home where we live and our house. We even decorate to create a sense of peace, which, again, nothing wrong with decorating and creating a peaceful home. But I want you to start to see beyond the surface and see that we have this pursuit of peace, that we are trying to find peace. We do it by accumulating stuff, because whenever we buy something new, there's a very real like adrenaline surge, oxytocin. We feel good for a moment when we buy a new outfit, or buy a new piece of furniture, or buy a new car, whatever it is. It feels so good and gives us a semblance of peace for a moment, because we have that warm, fuzzy feeling when we buy something, accumulate something. We do it as far as stuff, our finances, our banking accounts, all of that. We think if we save up enough and build up enough, that we'll have a measure of peace. So I could go through just a million examples of how one of the ways we try to chase after peace is with our stuff. We find it in our stuff. We find it in our relationships. That would be the second one. Oh my goodness. Has there ever been a more abundance of enmeshed and codependent relationships? I think we've gotten worse at this, not better, in spite of all of our great therapists and psychology books and everything else. We really try to find peace in our relationships. We think that marriage is going to make it happen. And then we get married. And it doesn't exactly deliver the peace we are looking for. We have children because we think that's when we're going to finally be at peace, is when we have lots of children. And oh dear Lord, I have 6 of them and there is no peace. and I love them, but there is no peace. Or we find it, we think if we were just friends with this person or just had that number of friends, or we think it's even in our church relationships. And I love church. I believe in church, but church is not the source of our peace. I mean, it can't be found there because it's a collection of a bunch of human people doing life together under a common love of God. But they're still human people. And so that's not where our peace lies. Okay, so we try to find peace in our stuff. We try to find peace in our relationships. And we also try to find peace in ourselves. And I've done this ridiculously long. And that's where we just basically trust in our own efforts to control and manage and create the life of peace. And so, you know, we work super hard and we chase after our own efforts and our own talents and our own ability to organize and manage and manipulate and control all the details of every day in order to create some kind of peace. And heaven forbid somebody should mess up our efforts at peace, and then we go off the handle. We either blow up or we shut down because they've gotten in the way of us controlling our own lives and our own destinies. And the thing is we all do this because we all long for peace, and we all long for a place of relative safety and security. We want a life that's predictable and under control. And so we use our stuff and our people and ourselves in order to bring that. And sooner or later, you guys know this, sooner or later, every single one of those things will come up short. Every one. I mean, eventually the new dress that made you feel really good becomes the old dress and you can't stand it anymore. It ends up in a donation pile. The brand new car gets a dent in it, or the house that was so wonderful has some kind of flaw. I mean, sooner or later it doesn't satisfy. And our people, you know this, right? The marriage that you thought would be your happily ever after turns out to be not quite so much. You know, he may be a good guy, she may be a good woman, but it's hard. And some days it's more conflict than peace. And that relationship isn't everything that you dreamed it would be. And then our kids end up having their own free will, their own desires, their own opinions, their own convictions. And no matter how much we try to make everything fall into line and create peace, they go on their own way and we're left without it. And then we get to our own efforts, and I face this every day, no matter how hard I try, no matter how determined I am to create a peaceful, predictable, secure, safe life, the unexpected happens. You guys, those of you who know me well, know that this has been my story for years now. Just about the time that you think everything's going to settle down and be okay, life throws you a curveball. I mean, it could be anything from a huge bill that you have to pay that you don't have the money to pay for. Could be a child that goes rogue. It could be a friendship that goes sour and you can't really figure out why. And see, this friendship that was so special to you all of a sudden is gone. It could be a split in a marriage. It could be a diagnosis, as you know I've had. These things happen. So no matter how much we try to create our own peace, these things come at us where it proves that peace is out of our own hands. We cannot find peace in our stuff or people or ourselves. We just can't. And this morning I just read a verse that's probably so familiar to you, but it was like just a big soft downpour of warm rain on me that just made me feel comfort again. And it's Jesus speaking in Matthew 11:28, and he simply says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me." And this is like my favorite part. "For I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." All the other taskmasters in our life, our stuff, our people, ourselves, we're not gentle. Okay, we don't deliver peace gently. We try to control it and manhandle it and make it happen. And Jesus is saying, "Come to me. I'm the one that's going to give you rest because I'm gentle and humble of heart, and you're going to find rest for your soul. So the three words that have delivered the most peace to me over the last couple of years especially are very simple. It's a three-word prayer. It's so simple, and I repeat it as many times as necessary until I get my heart and my mind back to that place of peace. And it's simply this: I trust you. I trust you, God. In this thing with my kids, I trust you. In this thing with my health, I trust you. In my marriage, in my friendships, in my finances, my job, whatever it is, I trust you. And then all of a sudden, all the things that we feel so desperate to control and to make us feel secure, those things that we hold so tightly in our hands, when we say, trust, I trust you, we basically relinquish it. We let it go, and we allow him to manage it. And our work, our job, the hard part of our role here is to let it go. To say the words, I trust you, to mean them, and to let him handle it. And from purely an intellectual standpoint, here's the deal. If he's God, if he's really God, if he is who he says he is, he's perfectly capable of handling this thing. So either I believe that he is who he says he is, or I don't. There is no middle ground. Either I believe he is who he says he is, or I don't. But if I do believe that, then right here in Matthew 11:28, Jesus says, all right, so come to me with this thing. Come to me with this situation that's impossible. Come to me with your marriage that is struggling. Come to me with that child who's gone rogue, or that diagnosis that you just received, or that loss that you think is going to swallow you up. Come to me with this. I promise I'll be gentle with it, he says. I'm gentle. I'm humble. I'm not going to manhandle you and arm wrestle you. I'm gentle of spirit and humble, and you will find rest for your souls. So that's my encouragement to you today. I'm feeling subdued in this today, and it's because I need to get back to that place of reminding myself, I trust you. I trust you. And so I'm repeating that mantra and that prayer in the morning, in the middle of the day, at night before I go to sleep, and when I put my head on my pillow, I say that once again, I trust you, God. Whatever it is, I trust you. And I'd encourage you to write that on the note card, to put it in your Bible right above Matthew 11:28, to put it as your screensaver on your phone. Whatever you need to do to make this a daily mantra, a daily reminder, do it. Because it's the only real way to peace. God, thank you so much for being gentle and humble, and for pulling us to yourselves. God, there are times when we just don't want to feel beat up anymore. We just don't want to feel beat up anymore. And I need that reminder. I know so many of us need that reminder, God, that you are gentle and that we can come to you. And when we come to you, we will not be beat up by life. We will just find rest in your presence. We trust you, God. We trust you. In Jesus' name, amen. My friends, for those of you who joined today, it was so good hanging out with you, and I feel such a tenderness of heart towards you today, because I know some of you are dealing with things that are about as far away from peace as we could possibly imagine. And I want more than anything for you to find just a quiet corner of peace and rest today, in spite of what's happening all around you. If there's a way that I can pray for you, if there's something that you're struggling with or you're aching for, leave it in the comments. Leave it below. Of course, you can always message me, and I'll do my best to respond. But leave it in the comments so all of us can circle around you and pray with you and for you, and just pray that you can find that place of rest in the arms of Jesus this week. So I love you guys. Next week is Memorial Day. I'm going to do my best to be on here on Monday on Memorial Day. If it doesn't happen on Monday morning, because we may be out of town, then I'll be here on Tuesday, so it'll be No Makeup Tuesday. But have a wonderful week. I love you guys. See you soon.